Alright guys, we are back. Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. As always, it is so great to see you. And friends, well, I'm down in my garage right now. I have the Turtleback Expedition trailer behind me. I have a few projects going on here this weekend here. I actually went down to Rebel Off-Road. We have the Planar diesel heater behind me. I just picked up the new fuel cell or the REDARC for it. Of course, the REDARC mounting hardware. We picked up a Rhino rack stow it. That's going to be for the shovel going on top of the Gladiator, and then of course there's the diesel heater. We have some other stuff here that's going to be for the mounting of the diesel heater, but this particular one right here is what I'm going to be speaking to you about today. This is the EVC. This is the iDrive for the Gladiator. Now, I've had this Gladiator now for about a year now, and one of the biggest problems that I've addressed, I've spoken about, that just drives me up the wall is the power. I think it's 3.6 V6 in the weight of this vehicle. This thing is a pig and a dog. Now, early on, I moved from the 411s to the 488 gears, and that did wake it up. But still, it's, especially when I'm towing the trailer, it really is, there's a lot more that could be had out of it. There's a lot more that I wish it had. And so, now while I have tried another throttle response or another kind of an onboard computer system, aftermarket computer system that didn't work out so well, this one was recommended to me by the folks over at Rebel Off-Road, and kind of an impulse buy, I decided to pick it up yesterday while I was down there. Now, this is a throttle controller, so not to be mistaken as anything that's going to add more power to the Jeep. You don't get any more power, but it is going to make the Jeep much more responsive. It's going to give you a lot more sharpness when taking off, or you can dumb it down. For example, there's 3 different modes in this thing. You have a E mode, which is economy. You have 9 different levels in each one. So that's going to be good for, like, if you're in low gear and you just want to dumb it down a little bit and be able to just crawl through there. That's going to be a good mode for that. You have ultimate, so if you're looking to get on it a little bit or you're stuck, you have 1 through 9 different levels. That's going to be good for there. And the one that I suspect is going to be the one that I'm going to use the most is the automatic mode. And that is going to kind of intelligently apply the right amount of throttle based upon how you're driving. So if you're getting on it, it's going to make it much more aggressive. If you're more gingerly, then it's going to slide things into more of an economy mode. The install of this is going to be pretty straightforward. As I understand, there's just a plug on the top of the accelerator. I'm going to pop that off, put this thing on there. Then, of course, we have to mount this thing someplace. And then, of course, we get to see what this thing does. So, let's get on to the install. Okay, let's review what is inside of this thing. All right, so we have the main controller itself. Okay, all the wiring harnesses are all nice. So this thing is pretty straightforward. So this clip is going to mount on top of where the existing cable is going into the gas pedal there, and then the stock side will plop into this, and then of course this end will plug into your controller. So let's see, we have, okay, quick start, nice. Okay, this is a alcohol wipe, which is, as I understand, I think there's some 3M, yeah, there's a little sticky tape on the back side of the controller there. And so that's what this alcohol wipe is for. A couple small zip ties, and those of you interested in stickers, well, you get a sticker that goes along with it. All right, so first is first, let's get this thing mounted on the gas pedal, get the other part plugged into there, and then we'll figure out where we're going to place that thing. Okay, now the fun part. Okay, so this is pretty straightforward to go popping off, or it should be. So this red clip right here, you want to pull this part out. Actually, that's going to be a pain. I think I may need a screwdriver for that. Okay, round 2, we got a screwdriver here. Let's get that in there and pop that off a little bit. Actually, I think that should do it. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now you can see what's happening here. I just pulled this out, and this should come off actually very easily. Now let's grab the harness from iDrive. Okay, and so I'm gonna try to do this with one hand so I can hold the camera, which I should have brought a tripod. This should go in here only one way. There we go, boom. Fits in there nice. Get close, push that back in. And then let's follow down. Here is, okay, so obviously we're gonna remove or pop this part out so it slides on top of the pedal nice. Okay, where are you? Oh, this is super easy. Okay, and once that's, oops. Okay, and so once you push it, slide it down, that actually locks itself in place. Boom, that was crazy easy. Okay, all right, so I think I'm probably gonna mount this right here. I think that's probably gonna be the most logical spot for me to place that thing. Okay, crack open the provided alcohol wipe, get this area super clean so that double-sided tape sticks well and doesn't go falling off. And this, I think, will work out really well because, again, then we can just stuff the wire up there. It's the shortest distance. We shouldn't need to pop off anything. Now I'm going to pull back the sticky tape here and we're going to apply this. Boom, that's gonna look nice there. All right, now as I mentioned a moment ago, I'm holding the camera with one hand, so I can't very well show you me pulling off that little thing here without dropping the camera. So imagine me pulling that off, and then now I'm going to just simply apply this right there, and I think that should work out really nice. So that's seated really well. All right, now let's get this connected to that and then hide the wires, and friend, I think we should be good to go. Okay, that was really easy. And now let's pop that down. Let's hide all of this into here. Actually, I'm going to try to keep. This works really well. Okay. Okay. Okay, that was very easy. Okay, so the two dashes, this is factory setting. Okay, the truck feels pretty normal. Okay, so now we can hit the mode. Now we're in Econo, and it feels very soft. The throttle feels very soft right now. Now again, this goes up to you have 9 different settings under each of these categories here. And let's just get to the fun stuff. Okay, so that is ultimate. All right, so now we can go up through different levels of. Again, you have the ultimate is going to be more of your spirited driving, different stages of that, levels of that. And again, what we're doing here, what's happening here is just the throttle response is being adjusted through this system right here. Let's just, I'm at a red light right now. So this goes up to 9, and let's just see what happens when we plop that sucker into there. Back over here so you can see me. Okay, so the throttle feels very aggressive right now, and as we could see there a moment ago, it's shifting just right before red line is what I've noticed so far. And of course we're coming on to another light. Here we go. I'm at 54% throttle. definitely a lot more responsive. Again, the shift points, the truck's keeping things in gear a little bit longer, getting you up into that power band. Pretty straightforward, but yeah, it's pretty badass. Now let's jump into auto mode. I'm hand holding this camera, so pardon any sort of shaking that you may see. It feels pretty good. Definitely a lot snappier, which again is one of the biggest problems I've had, as I mentioned a moment ago, with this truck, is it feels like you have an anchor being, you know, tossed out of the back and just dragging along. Okay, we're gonna race this minivan here. Okay. Definitely quicker. I mean, you're not going to win any quarter miles with this thing, but you don't buy a Jeep for speed. But it does give you a lot more snappiness off the line there, which is nice. And I'm particularly interested to see how this does when towing my Turtleback. Now, in a handful of weeks, I'm going to be heading out to the Overland West, and so I'll be driving this thing for 7 hours. I think it's going to take me to get out there. Okay, enough of the street driving. I'm going to jump on the freeway briefly, and we'll see how this thing handles. And I have it in auto right now. Now, one thing I do want to point out here, let me turn the AC down so that fan doesn't destroy the mic. One thing I do want to point out here, and you know what, I'm going to quote Spider-Man. Yeah, I'm going to go there, but that quote is ringing in my head. You remember that part where he goes, with great responsibility, or with great power, there must also come great responsibility. Now, I'm not saying you're going to have access to all sorts of, you know, power, but it feels that way, that you have much more power. And what's happening here is iDrive is basically keeping you in the power range with this, but it's also just dumping you off right close to redline each time. So now if you're driving aggressive like this all the time, I can't imagine from the longevity standpoint of these motors that's going to be good. So my personal thought of this here: enjoy it, use it when needed, don't abuse it, because, you know, this is a V6, this is a heavy truck. It definitely does feel a lot more responsive though. Yeah, so it dumps it off just prior to 6,000, and of course anything beyond 6,000 or 6,500 rather is redlining. But it feels good though. So what I recommend for 200 bucks, I'm gonna put the price here. Honestly, I can't remember what I paid for this thing. I believe it was like 200 bucks. Yeah, it's a good buy. Now, the true test, of course, which I will report on a little bit later, is how does it feel when I'm towing the trailer. That's one of the reasons that I picked this up, because of course when I'm towing the trailer, it's going uphill. I need to be on the power range a little bit, be in the power a little bit more than what it normally does. But anyways, yeah, iDrive, good job. So I'll put a link. I picked this up from Rebel Off-Road. Honestly, I'm not sure if that's the best price, but it was there. I was there, and as I mentioned earlier, it was a bit of an impulse buy. But I would recommend, I'll put a link down below to the iDrive website, and you can get more information on there. All right, guys, it's been 24 hours since I installed the iDrive. I put about 60 miles on the truck. I'm actually heading back, picked up some rum for my family tonight. A little different camera angle because my GoPro, I took my batteries out of the truck here yesterday, not even thinking. The GoPro battery just died on me, so I'm using my iPhone here in landscape mode, and figures hitting a little traffic as I start jibber-jabbering here to you. But anyway, so let's talk about a little bit more of a hands-on review. Now that I've put some miles on the truck, I've played around with it for about 24 hours. I like it. So now I do a couple things I want to share, because I know when I picked this up, I was curious, okay, is this going to do anything with my fuel economy? Usually I'm pegged right around 10 miles per gallon. When I'm towing the trailer, it'll dip down to about 8.9. And so, while
I'm saying I think I've lost a little bit of the mileage or the fuel economy with this, but I'm not sure, and I'll share with you why. Learned during the last 24 hours of driving this thing, I've been a little bit more spirited with how I'm driving this here, simply because it's a lot more fun, it's a lot more responsive. So by doing so, yeah, my foot's in the throttle a little bit. So rather than at the 10 mpg that it's normally pegged at, I'm at 9.8 right now. So I share that with you because it's likely not any different. It's just because my foot's been a little bit heavier during the last 24 hours. Now, regarding the 3 modes, honestly, I don't think I'm going to use the Ultra or the Economy mode that much. I see using the Economy mode, as I mentioned earlier, like if I'm in low and I just really want to, feather that gas, I'm going to use the Economy modes. Other than that, I really don't see a need for it, at least for my driving or how I drive the truck. Ultimate, look, I want something I can set on auto and just leave it. So I don't see myself utilizing that, again, unless I'm stuck in mud or snow or something like that and I just want some raw grill and power, then I'm going to use that. But as far as for my driving and how I foresee myself using this, I think the auto mode is fantastic. It's adapted towards how you're driving, and it's really woken up, it's made the truck a lot more responsive. But again, as I mentioned a moment ago, you definitely want to keep an eye on how often you're hammering on it, because watch where the RPMs go. They're going up close to 6,000, which is pretty darn close to redlining in these things. So I think, going around town, it definitely, is waking up the truck. It's keeping it in gear longer. And so definitely a big thumbs up. I like it. So on the freeway, I'm doing 70 miles an hour right now. I hammered on it. It's climbing 75, 80, 85. So while I don't drive this thing, I very rarely bring this thing up above 80. Actually, I very rarely bring this thing up above 75. But it climbed and it felt pretty good. Whereas before, the few times that I did have this thing above 80, I mean, it feels really soft once you get into the 80s. It feels like it still has a little more room to go pulling. Again, it's a heavy truck. It's as aerodynamic as a brick, so it's not meant to go fast. But when you need to, it's nice to have that responsiveness, that pull. And so this thing definitely won't get it for $200. Yeah, it's a definitely, I would say it's one of the top 5. No, I would say top 10 items to get for your Gladiator or your Jeep. For $200, again, you can't go wrong with that. And the install process, I mean, really, it took about a whole 10 minutes. It took me a little bit longer to install this thing. Actually, I probably would have bet that I could install this thing probably about 3 or 4 minutes had I not been playing around with the camera, recording it so I could share it with you guys. So the install of this thing is just a super breeze. Actually, I'll say 5 minutes. So, at any rate, that's it. Well, there you go, guys. This was a short little video, little recommendation. Thumbs up. I like it. It's that time of the video to ask you to do all that YouTube stuff. If you were mildly entertained, if I provided some value for you here today, do me a favor, hit that like button down below. If you're currently not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Hell, while you're at it, might as well hit that bell so therefore you're notified each time that we come out with a new video. Friends, I'm going to jump off. Actually, I'm going to drop a box off at the post office here. Might as well get a haircut as well. And I'll see you guys next time. So get out there, find your adventure.